again, Bitcoin is struggling at the 69,000 area. That's the red line right here. The bulls need a push above this area. The bears need rejection at this area. So as we see the bulls and bears fight it out, the bulls are coming in down here. The bears are coming in up here. And we've been going sideways for weeks on end as the bulls and bears fight it out for the next directional move. If we get a break above 69,000, that's bullish. You stay above 69,000, can't drop back below it. That's bullish, and you're confirming a new bull market. You don't drop back below 69,000. You push above it again, and you fail, and you get a higher high and something that looks like this, then that's bearish. And then the move fails and you drop back below the 20-week and back below the 100-day, then that's bearish. If you get a breakout, that's bullish. If you get a lower high, lower low, and we see a breakdown right now, we start losing the 100 on the daily, that's bearish. So again, we're going sideways as the bulls and bears fight it out for control. And I'll be talking about that in this video. Why is that important? Because when Bitcoin has broken out in the past above its previous peak of the prior bull market or prior high, it's been off to the races. As I've said, off to the races. You break above this level here, we pull back, and then it was off to the races. So still a possibility, but again, you got rejection at that area, and you were able to clear it. Here, we did it and moved to these new highs. Here we did it, and it failed. So do we get a failure or do we get a legitimate breakout? And that's what we're watching. Again, with our recent lows, Bitcoin bounced off the rainbow cloud. You take out the rainbow cloud, that is bearish. And if it will be confirmed if we start losing the critical mass line. If Bitcoin loses this level, then that's bearish. It's been acting as support. Right now we're bouncing off of it. That could still take us back up to a new all-time high. You lose this level, you drop below critical mass, that blue line right there, and you stay below it like we did over here, that's going to be bearish. You hold above and bounce off these levels, that's bullish. We had a bottoming tail last week and the prior week, and over here a couple weeks ago has again 59, 60,000 area with horizontal support is right where the rainbow cloud is coming in the weekly time frame, which has defined the bullish trend. Break it, that's bearish. You bounce off of it, that's bullish. That's really what it comes down to. I used that level here with the rainbow cloud to close my short and go long. If we break it, I'll go back to short. If we bounce, we look into sell into the rally. So again, watching this rainbow cloud closely. Coin has been going sideways, so you've got mixed signals, momentum. Here is bearish, and the trend is bearish. We've broken the little green line right there. The trend is bearish. If we can clear the red line up here, then that's going to resume the advance. If we break down, get rejection here off of momentum, then again, I'll be watching the 100 period moving average. Do we break it? Momentum has gone negative here. The divergence gave us the top. That is a short-term top or a major top. All depends on if we can resume the advance with Bitcoin or not. Currently here, we're still on a sell signal, and here momentum is bearish, and the trend is bearish at the moment as we go sideways. Have not broken horizontal support yet. You have to really do that and drop below the 100 period in order to change the trend officially. My critical mass cloud 2.0 still bearish as we go sideways, turning down off the critical mass line in the cloud at the moment. So again, we're going to be looking for a directional move, either up, a breakout of the consolidation, or down. You can really see the sideways move here with the rainbow cloud going back and forth from green to red to green to red. Again, sell signal, buy signal, the momentum line turning bearish, back to bullish. The swing trend line turning bearish, back to bullish, back and forth, back and forth. And right now, here the swing trend line's bearish. Here the momentum line's bullish. We're below the rainbow cloud, still bearish. But all the while we're going sideways, again, look at the balance of power remains negative and really just shows a lack of a trend here. So again, we're going to be looking, do we break the 59, 60,000 area, drop down to 58,000 and bounce off of the 100 period moving average, or break that level, Or do we see 60,000, 59, 60,000 hold to the 100 period and try to move to the upside and break out of this trading range upward? Maybe get a downward move, test a low, and then get an upward move. We'll be watching to see how it unfolds, but you can clearly see here that we are going sideways, and that again, the bulls are down here and the bears are up here as the bulls and bears fight it out. So we'll be looking to see, do we bounce horizontal support of the 100 period moving average, or do we break that level? Bitcoin is doing the sidestep, going sideways. Currently, it's getting rejection off of the broken trend line of the lower boundary of the triangle, which I'll show you in this video, and the 50 period moving average in the daily, along with the 200. It's turning right off the 200 period moving average in the 4-hour time frame. Now, Bitcoin on the 4-hour chart, it formed this little bullish falling wedge. Again, we had a triple bullish divergence that gave us a rebound back up to the 200 period moving average. We're getting rejection off the 20 and the 50 there in the daily. We're getting rejection off the 200 here. And we're going to be watching, do we go down and test the lows? And if we do, I talked about that happening in my last video, can we get a higher low or a divergence at the 100 period in the daily time frame? Or for Bitcoin to go higher, you got to clear the 200-day moving average here in the 4-hour time frame. You've got to clear the 20 and the 50 in the daily. 50 is still below the 200 here, and parameter moved into negative territory, has remained there even with the rebound. So again, as long as you hold below the 200, parameters negative, that's still bearish. We got to be able to clear the 200. We got to be able to get parameter in positive territory for Bitcoin to attempt a bigger recovery, a legitimate breakout. Now, if parameter remains negative and it rolls over, you might form a divergence. You might confirm a higher low, but I'll be watching again this level, and right below it, again, this 59, 60,000 area, right below it at 58,000 is our 100 period moving average in the daily time frame. Do we try to test this level and bounce to form a bottom and then eventually get above the 200, or do we break that 100 in the daily, which would be bearish if we broke it and could not get back above it? One sideways, will support hold. If Bitcoin rebounds, again, tether dominance, the trend line would have to break in order for a bullish advance, a bull market to be confirmed. If we pull back to this level here, the trend line, you can get a divergence and a topping process and then turn down. That would be bearish, and then coming back up here. If we start pushing up through overhead resistance right here, right now, and Bitcoin starts breaking the 100 period moving average in the daily, the 20-week moving average in the weekly, that would be bearish short term. But right now, we're turning down off of this overhead resistance. And again, that could give us a bottom around that 59, 60,000 area, or a little bit lower at the 100 period moving average. I'm talking about in this video. But again, it's still possible that we get a topping process, as we've had other tops form at this trend line. Very well could be. And if the top is in, then we just break up here. If we are in a topping process, we could still move to a higher high, come back and hit the trend line, or move towards it anyways, dance around it like we did back over here, like we did over here a little bit. Even at our peak, our recent peak, we kind of danced around that area a little bit. So again, I'll be watching to see what happens. But this could be suggesting Bitcoin is forming a top, and it may not be done yet, as we've seen it at other points at this trend line here. So again, bullish scenario, this trend line's got to break. Topping process, we go back to the trend line, and then we bounce, and then we move above overhead resistance. For a bearish scenario right here, right now, we got to break the 100 period and go up and clear this area. That would be extremely bearish for the short term, and break that 100 period moving average. So again, Bitcoin very well could be in a topping process, still move up to make a new high like we did back over here, and end up having the move fail. We'll have a 9 count that has not yet been perfected. It still may be perfected, close to a new all-time high. I should say even a weekly push above it, a intra-week high. Doesn't have to be a close. Sorry, I misspoke on that. Okay, we are in the session on Wednesday. Bitcoin is down just over 2% at the moment. It is getting rejection off of the 20-period moving average. I told you Bitcoin is going sideways, and it dropped a possible short-term bottom with tensions in the Middle East producing a bottom right there, moving slightly below this low into our support zone. This low over here and this low over here. We hit 59,000 range, went back up above 60,000, could not break that level. Again, Rainbow Cloud in this the weekly time frame is at that 60,000 area, and I was looking to see if we would break it. That would be bearish. If we bounce, that would be bullish. We've bounced off of this level. We've come back up to the moving averages. You got the 10, the 20, below the 50. They're pointing down. Again, we can come back, as I said in my last update, we could still come back and test this low. You break this area, that's bearish. You get a higher low, that's bullish. If we break this area and we go down a little bit further, you have the 100-period moving average. If you bounce off that, then that would be, I don't have the 100 on this chart, just the 200, but that would be bullish if we were to bounce off of the 100-period moving average and break this level and then and hold above the 100 period. So you have this 59, 60,000 area of support. Directly below that, you have the 100-period moving average, which is rising, by the way. So we're down 2%. We've come up to our 20-period moving average. The dip right here has formed this bull flag pattern. We had a triangle that broke down. We had a triangle that broke down here, but a failed breakout up here. The triangle broke down, but it's now evolved into a bull flag pattern. I was watching a 60,000 area. Again, closed my short there and went long at that 60,000 area. This is a line in the sand. And again, the bulls are down here. Okay, the bulls are down here. The bears are up here. Okay, and we've been going in a sideways trading range since late February back over here. If we start breaking the 100 period, we break down below this level, start taking out the 100 period moving average, that's bearish. Then I'll try another short, establish a higher low, then I'll hang on to my long and watching to see if we go back up. And again, if S&P can recover back up to the 5,200 area to fill the gap, even go up to the upper channel and try to above 5,300, try to make a new all-time high, Bitcoin could do the same thing. We do have a bull flag here. But like I said, we're going sideways. If we break down, take out the 100 period moving average, then that's going to be bearish. Right now, struggling at the moving averages. So as I said back over here, that we could rally up and pull back. If this low can hold here, if these two lows can hold right here at this 59, 60,000 area, then again, you've got a shot at coming up here, breaking above this level and forming the topping process 69,000 area, or to get a legitimate breakout. If we can get above 69,000, stay above it and never look back, that would be the bullish case for a bull market. Validated, you get above 69,000, which is this dotted red line right here. The dotted red line is 69,000, and you'd have to get above it and stay above it. So far, we've gotten above it, get rejection. Got above it, got rejection. Got above it, got rejection. And now we're still below it here. Currently at 60, well, just under 65,000 at the moment, getting rejection at the 20 period, just under our 50 period moving average. So if we get rejection here, you get a bigger dump, then again, it's possible that that's all she wrote and we hit a lower high and a lower low. But like I said, the lows over here failed to confirm and close below this low right here. So again, you have to get a lower high, lower low, confirm it, and then start dropping below the 59, 60,000 area, and then drop below the 100 period moving average and remain below it. And here's the triangle. We had the failed breakout to the upside, and again, the triangle evolved into that bull flag I showed you a moment ago. And again, we're bouncing off support. If we come down here and we break this level, you've got the 100 period. If we break this level, you could still form a divergence. There's our 100 period right there. Currently at the low 58,000 area. So again, if we do make a lower low, you could form a divergence and still try to bounce off of that area. Even if we break this 59, 60,000 range, the support zone area, you've got that 100 period. Again, Bitcoin follows the 100 period moving average daily time frame, and it follows the 20-week in the weekly time frame. So just some levels of support that I'm looking at, levels of resistance. Again, the signals are going back and forth from bullish to bearish, or from bullish to bearish, back to bullish, back to bearish, back to bullish, back to bearish, and this just shows we're going sideways. So now we're stalling at the moving averages. I talked about this previously. If we sell off, do we get a higher low or divergence? We still may attempt, try to make a new high, and again, going sideways for weeks and weeks and weeks, driving the bulls and the bears bananas. We're not trending, we're going sideways. That's why I closed my short and went long. Still think we can get traction going higher, but like I said, you break this 100 period, then that's going to be extremely bearish. You break the 100 period and hold below it. Here's the 100 period moving average along with the 20 period moving average in blue. The 100 period is in pink. Again, we bounced off of it at the January low. We were going sideways right here, hopping above it and below it. Here you got above it, it acted as support. Here you broke below it, and it acted as resistance. Tried to get above it here, and it failed. It dropped, failed again, and rejection, rejection, rejection. Bitcoin follows the 100 period moving average. We come down and we break 59,000, 60,000, and you break below that 100 period moving average, currently at the low 58,000 area at the moment, which is rising, so we might try to bounce off of it. If it continues to rise, should we go lower? You might get a divergence or a higher low if you try to bounce off of it. If we pull back further, bounce off of it, then that's going to be a sign of strength. If we break it and drop below it, can't get back above it, then that is a sign of weakness, like what we had over here. You drop below it, you couldn't get back above it. The 20 dropped below it and held below it. The 20 was rejection, couldn't get back above the 100 period after 20 crossed back below it. So we'll be watching. Right now we're stalling at that 20 period as we saw on the other charts. We're stalling at the 20 period moving average. Does that push us back down to the 100? Do we bounce off the 100? Do we break the 100? If we try to take out this level, and again, the 100 might be closer to the 59, 60,000 level if we drop down further by the time we reach it. We're moving towards the Fed meeting next week, 1 week from now. We'll be watching to see if the stock market tries to put in a bottoming process ahead of the Fed. We try to get a bigger rally ahead of the Fed. I'll be watching that surrounding the earnings. We've got earnings this week with the Magnificent Seven stocks. Some things to be paying attention to. Bitcoin struggling at the 20, getting rejection, just under the 50 period moving average. You've got the 100 period down here at support. Again, Bitcoin can still try to move to a higher high if we can hold above that 100 period, and you could still get a top that looks something like this. If we do form a top, if you get a push above 69,000 and remain there, then you'll have a legitimate breakout, and then Bitcoin could possibly validate a new bull market if it can stay above 69,000 and keep going. I think it's more likely you have a topping process, but if we get above 69,000, hold above it, never look back, then you've got a legitimate breakout. And again, holding above our 100 period moving average. You form a top here, you get a lower high, lower low, and break the 100 and stay below it, then that's bearish. Or if we get a pop at this support area and maybe around the 100 period or at the 59, 60,000 area, and you get a pop that looks something like this over here, then again, you can still come back and drop and lose that 100 period and form a topping process. Bitcoin is struggling at that 69,000 area. Again, 3 failed attempts to get above it. We may attempt a 4th time if we get a top that looks something like this. You get a legitimate breakout, you'll break above the level and never look back. And this is the Bitcoin daily chart. Again, here in pink is 100 period. Here's the trending cloud. At a triangle, you've come back down to support, now potentially evolving into a bull flag pattern. Here's our 100 period and the lower end of the cloud. You take these levels out, you hold below these levels, you can't get back above them, that's bearish. You bounce off of this area, again, hit the lower boundary, get a higher low, or break it, and hit that 100 period and bounce like we did over here, then that's going to be bullish. So again, we're trying to get some traction off of the 59,000, 60,000 area, but we're turning off the 20. So again, as I said in my last update, again, we're likely going to pull back and test this low, and we'll see if we get a higher low or a lower low. But you break this level, that's bearish. You bounce off of this area, then that is bullish. If we see the bull flag play out and we get say we get a higher low and we come back up here and we break out, again, you could see something like this. If it's a failed breakout or a legitimate breakout, you get above 69,000, clear the previous peak at 73,800, and you hold above 69,000. Don't drop back below it like we have been doing. Really, this 100 period in the cloud here, this 100 period really is a line in the sand. You hold above it, you can go higher. You break it, and you can't get back above it. You're going to go lower. Really what it comes down to. With putting parameter right here, there's no diversions. We still may end up forming one. We're still above that 100 period. So again, if we can bounce off of it or hold above it there, again, we still may attempt to do that. We have to form a divergence, but we very well could form it on the RSI in the weekly time frame. One other thing about getting rejection at the 20-week and the 50-day moving average, again, Bitcoin is turning off those levels. It's also back testing the trend line. If I just take it further back, you can see here, again, we're back testing the trend line right here. Again, does that take us down to take out our 100 period? Do we hold above it? Bitcoin's been going sideways for weeks now. We're going to be looking for a resolution for a trending move, either down or either up. And if we break up, can't hold above 69,000, the trending move could fail in completing a topping process in reverse, or again, a lower high, lower low. You got to break above 69,000, stay above it to confirm a bull market. We rallied off support, but the Moonboy oscillator is still bearish and moving into the negative region now. So again, we still may test the low and get a higher low, or try to take it out and hit the 100 period. If you take the 100 period out and stay below it, that's going to be extremely bearish. It could take us back towards the 200 period moving average. Currently, they're at the 48,000, 49,000 level. The trend indicator is still positive. If we lose the 100 period, we lose the cloud, see the trend indicator go negative, then it's bearish. If we can bounce off the 100 period or hold above it, bounce off the cloud, hold above it, see the trend indicator remain positive, that's bullish. We're going sideways. So again, I'm a big believer in the 100 period moving average. It defines the trend. Same thing for the 20-week moving average. It defines the trend. We're holding above the 20-week moving average. That's this blue line right here. And again, here's the RSI. I've talked about the possibility of a divergence. We had the bottoming tail last week. We had a sell-off, 12%, something like that at the lows. Rebounded back up as tensions in the Middle East began to calm. Bitcoin and the stock market rebounded. We're stalling there at the 20-period moving average after bouncing off horizontal support. If we can rebound back up, again, get a legitimate breakout or get a rebound back up to a new high and form a top, you could form a divergence. If you form a negative divergence here, you very well could topping process if the S&P and the stock market rebound back up to fill the gap, which they're likely going to do. Signals are still bearish, but a bottoming process could form and a rebound. If the S&P can bounce off its 20-week moving average, as I talked about previously, then Bitcoin could possibly form a divergence here and, again, go higher but have the move fail. If it's a legitimate breakout, stay above 69,000, there's really a stronger possibility for a bounce with the stock market if Bitcoin, bounce with Bitcoin, I should say, if the stock market tries to put in a short-term bottom around that 20-week moving average, because Bitcoin has a positive correlation with the stock market. So I'm watching to see, does a divergence develop here? We've had divergences at other turning points. We get one here on the RSI. We do have divergences on other indicators, could form multiple point divergences, though, if we try to form it here on the RSI. And talking more about the RSI, again, possibly forming a divergence, Bitcoin's 2050 signals find the trend in the weekly time frame. The sideways consolidation, Bitcoin got above the 20-week moving average, and the RSI moved into positive territory above 50, and it's remained there. Now, again, a divergence might form a turning point, as we've seen over here and over here and over here, which led to drops below the 20-week moving average in each of those cases. But right now we're above it, so there's still the possibility a divergence develops. But again, when we lose the 50 level, when we lose the 2050, the 20-week moving average, the 50 level on the RSI, then the bears gain control. When you're above the 20-week, when the RSI is above 50, you've got a bullish 2050 buy signal that has remained. Now, again, that could change if we form a little divergence, or if no divergence develops. Again, you got to lose the 20-week moving average here. You've got to lose the 100-day moving average in the daily time frame. But Bitcoin, when it formed a multiple point divergence here with this peak over here at 69,000, it lost the 20-week moving average and it held below it with rejection at it. Break above 69,000, hold above it. You start getting a multiple point divergence that takes us much, much higher. Holding above 69,000 and not dropping back below it is going to confirm market. Getting rejection at 69,000 is going to confirm a failed breakout at 69,000. So far we've had 3 attempts, but the 2050 signals here between the RSI and the 20-week moving average. So we'll be watching to see if we can continue to hold above that 20-week moving average.